Imagine the glow of your television flickering in a dark room, a bowl of popcorn trembling in your lap, not from genuine terror, but because you're about to endure a parade of bad horror movies that critics maligned and fans debated. But wait, tonight, rather than simply roasting these infamous fright fests, we're flipping the script. I'm playing devil's advocate for each selection, showing you why these failed horrors might just be the perfect way to spend your night. Ready to cringe, groan, laugh out loud, and maybe, just maybe, find a new guilty pleasure? Grab your seat, dim the lights, and welcome to our countdown. 10 bad horror films to watch tonight, and why they deserve your attention.
Go ahead, son. You still got time. There's a train coming the other way. You'll just catch it. You'll thank me in the morning.
You ain't right, man.
Oh, I'm right. You'll see. Invigorating.
All right, at number 10, we have The Devil Inside.
South Hartford 911, what is your emergency?
Three people.
Ma'am, what's the problem?
3 people are dead. I killed them.
Ma'am.
Hi. In The Devil Inside, Isabella Rossi travels to Rome to investigate the exorcism gone wrong that led to her mother's long-term institutionalization. With the help of a documentary crew and 2 rogue priests, she dives headlong into the heart of a sinister Vatican conspiracy and faces the chilling reality of possession that may be contagious. And now the key scare is there's a standout moment that strikes during a harrowing exorcism in an underground Roman church. The possessed are bound and writhing, their grotesque postures underscored by the grainy realism of found footage. A woman's body contorts in impossible ways as violent demonic voices ripple through the vaults. The camera shakes and chaos reigns. Now, this is why I think it works. Let's be honest. The Devil Inside is notorious for its abrupt, audience-infuriating ending. But isn't that part of the fun? With its gritty, pseudo-documentary approach, the film achieves a level of authenticity that is both exhilarating and disorienting. You can't help but be sucked in by the blending of reality and supernatural chaos. The exorcism scenes, in their rough execution, feel more like watching forbidden footage than conventional cinema. The film's unpolished look becomes an asset, immersing you in the unpredictability and uncertainty the characters fill. In other words, its flaws create an almost unique atmosphere of unease that slicker productions can't fabricate. Alright, and at number 9 we have Stay Alive.
Play this new game, man.
Yeah?
Seriously, it was creepy.
Hello?
Alive. A group of 20-somethings in New Orleans discovers Stay Alive, a mysterious unfinished survival horror game. The catch, if your character dies in the game, you die for real. Usually in an eerie, specific, gruesome fashion. Soon, they race to defeat the spirit of Elizabeth Bathory. Before there continues, run out for good. So the pivotal horror arrives when the group realizes the murders in their circle mirror in-game deaths, particularly Miller's demise. Stabbed by Countess Bathory's scissor blades after running out of roses. The moment the cursed game's mechanics blend seamlessly with supernatural murder is unexpectedly effective, turning a gamer's goof-off into bloody fate. Now why I think it works? Critics pan Stay Alive for its clunky plotting and melodrama. But here's the truth. This film is a time capsule of early 2000s gamer culture, serving up a delicious mix of nostalgia and supernatural cheese. It captures a genuine digital paranoia, tapping into our fears what technology may somehow leap from the screen and bite us in real life. The premise, a video game that kills you, is as delightfully dumb as it is compelling, and the movie's flaws only add to its so bad it's entertaining charm. The result? A fever dream that's 1 part accidental comedy, 1 part gothic camp, and all parts fun for a group marathon. And at number 8 we have Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Tonight's brutal murders was
described by police as Manson-like in its viciousness. 3 people brutally murdered and a 10-year-old boy being held in custody.
Rob Zombie's Halloween takes a chainsaw to John Carpenter's minimalistic classic, offering a gritty, gruesome reimagining with an extensive dive into Michael Myers' twisted childhood, family dysfunction, and descent into masked mayhem. This origin story follows Michael from bullied misfit to the unfeeling killer haunting Haddonfield on Halloween night. A particularly unsettling moment comes when adult Michael, his face obscured by that infamous mask, kidnaps Laurie Strode and forces her into the ruined Myers house. Armed with only desperate cunning, Laurie must fight for her life. A sequence that pushes the brutality and despair to new heights, mirroring Michael's own descent. And why I think it works? Many argued Zombie's approach over-explains the enigmatic Myers. But think of it this way. Halloween 2007 is an origin story for the age of true crime obsession. By investing in Michael with a backstory, the film taps into the disturbing question, is evil born or made? The visceral grindhouse aesthetic, pulsating with grime and violence, feels like a natural evolution for a new horror generation, accustomed to raw authenticity. Laudably, the cast Malcolm McDowell and Sherry Moon Zombie deliver intense, committed performances, giving even longtime fans something fresh and bloody to chew on. The remake isn't afraid to get ugly, and sometimes that's exactly what slasher cinema should do.
You're my family now. Black Christmas.
Set during the holiday season, this mean-spirited yet visually striking remake sees a sorority house beset by a deeply disturbed killer and a sister, both shaped by a legacy of family abuse. These sisters are tormented and murdered one by one, with each death gleefully utilizing Yuletide imagery in inventive, gruesome ways. The best scares erupt from the film's subversion of Christmas cheer, particularly a scene where an unsuspecting victim is attacked with a glass unicorn or impaled with a sharpened candy cane. The juxtaposition of festive decor and ultra-violent deaths delivers a chilling sense of the uncanny. Now, why do I think it works? Yes, the plot is bonkers, the gore is relentless, the character depth wanting. But Black Christmas embraces its over-the-top nastiness with full-throated glee. The film's artful visual palette, saturated reds and greens, twinkling lights awash in blood, gives the holiday horror subgenre a vivid, feral jolt. There's shameless creativity in weaponizing Christmas kitsch, and the movie's camp energy means it skirts between unintentional comedy and genuine discomfort. It's the perfect, cheerfully tasteless treat for anyone who ever wanted to see Silent Night become Slaughter Night. Alright, counting in at number 6 is the number 23.
Suppose I'm buying that for you, too.
Actually, I've had a good long time to flip through it. Why don't you give it a try?
The number 23. A heart-wrenching odyssey into paranoia. One of the most horrifying metamorphoses ever told.
I'm buying this for you.
Jim Carrey plays Walter Sparrow, an everyman whose life unravels after reading a mysterious book, The Number 23, that seems eerily based on his own. As he spirals deeper into number-based paranoia and conspiracy, obsession begets madness, and sinister secrets gather at the edge of reason. The horror reaches its zenith during Walter's hallucinations. Numbers skitter across the wall, and reality starts to fracture as he discovers the connection between 23 and every facet of his existence. Carrey's descent into obsession is both unnerving and strangely comical, culminating in a revelation that you might see coming from a mile away, or it might just catch you off guard. Now, why do I think it works? Is it a mess? Sure. Is it fascinating? Absolutely. The number 23 stands out as an earnest attempt to merge psychological horror with numerological conspiracy. Watching Jim Carrey grapple with a serious, unraveling man proves oddly compelling, especially if you're used to his comedic persona. The film's relentless search for patterns mirrors the real way obsessions can grip the mind, and the lush noir-inspired visuals offer plenty of style. For viewers who like movies as conversation starters, you'll find no shortage of "Did you notice this?" woven into the confusion. Paranoia has never been so weirdly fun. And stalking in at number 5, it is The Strangers, Chapter 1.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you hear that?
Hear what?
The silence. It's nice.
In this relaunch of the hit home invasion franchise, a young couple, Maya and Ryan, set off on a cross-country road trip only to break down in the sleepy town of Venus, Oregon. Their night in an isolated Airbnb turns into a relentless siege by the masked trio of Dollface, Pinup Girl, and Scarecrow, who seem to strike without motive or mercy. And now, one of the key scares, among many nerve-jangling moments, the most skin-crawling is Maya's shower sequence, a subtle homage to Psycho, as Scarecrow silently observes her from the shadows. The power suddenly flickers, every creak in the old house magnified. The violence later erupts in a terrifying, sustained invasion, culminating in a brutal struggle for life amid total isolation. And why it works, yes, critics argued this reboot failed to recapture the chilling novelty of the original, but The Strangers Chapter 1 nails the primal horror of being hunted for no reason and no reason at all. It gleefully exploits our collective fear of randomness and helplessness, reminding us that sometimes horror works best when it refuses to provide answers. The anonymity of the masked assailants, their matter-of-fact violence, and the suffocating rural setting crank up the dread. For fans' attention, even in well-trodden territory, this trilogy starter offers effective jolts and stark, visceral imagery. Tune in for the cliffhanger ending, stay for the skillful escalation of terror. And hidden at number 4 is The Village.
We have always had, since the day we settled here, a gentle understanding with the creatures who live beyond our borders.
M. Night Shyamalan's The Village invites viewers into Covington, a 19th century Pennsylvania enclave barricaded from the modern world by dense woods. The villagers live in fear of those we don't speak of, red-cloaked monsters prowling the trees. When medicine runs out, the blind Ivy must confront the terrors outside the fence, only to uncover a secret more unsettling than monsters. The notorious creatures scene ratchets up suspense. Ivy, visionless but determined, is stalked through the woods as red-robed figures close in. The heart-pounding slow pursuit and the claustrophobic soundscape make the forest itself seem as if it's alive with threats. The final twist, shocking in its quiet devastation, it reminds us, fear can be born of lies as much as monsters. Now, why do I think it works? Yes, it was dismissed at release for its contrived twist. The Village is nonetheless a gorgeously filmed, deeply atmospheric fairy tale. Its strength lies in mood, music, and earnest exploration of trauma and control. The visual motifs, vivid colors as symbols, fences as metaphors, lend the film an almost painterly storybook feel. James Newton Howard's sweeping score and Bryce Dallas Howard's soulful performance anchor the movie's sense of yearning and unease. Sometimes horror isn't about the monsters. Sometimes it's about the people who make them up, and the lengths that we'll go to avoid confronting the world outside of our own bubble. Alright, and assimilating at number 3 is 2011 The Thing.
You, my friends, will all be immortalized as the people who made this discovery.
Did you hear that?
Serving as a prequel to John Carpenter's 1982 masterpiece, The Thing follows an international research team who discovers a shape-shifting alien in the Antarctic ice. As paranoia and terror mount, the line between friend and foe is obliterated. The creature could be anyone. The endgame? Always assimilation. The horror's front and center during the filling scene. The crew tests for alien imposters by checking for metal dental work, knowing the thing can't replicate inorganics. Tension snaps as one of the crew members' true nature is revealed in a blaze of squirming, grotesque CGI, tentacles, teeth, and all. Now, why do I think it works? Even fans of the 1982 original bemoan the prequel's reliance on digital effects over practical. But give credit where credit's due. The film nails the vibe of the Arctic doom, building meticulous continuity into sets and props, the axe, the spaceship, the dead husky, that flow directly into John Carpenter's cult classic. Mary Elizabeth Winstead delivers a gutsy performance, and the chess match of trust and betrayal is still potent. Despite its flaws, it's a geeky, loving homage for franchise fans yearning to revisit blood-soaked paranoia in that cold, unforgiving environment. Watch it before the original for a double feature that brings the story full circle. Alright, at a statuesque number 2, we have House of Wax.
Is anybody?
No, nobody.
Hello?
I don't think anyone's here.
Hey, where's that House of Wax? It is wax. Literally.
This is weird.
So this time around, we have a carload of college friends on their way to a football game that find themselves stranded in an off-the-map ghost town. The main attraction? Trudy's House of Wax, a macabre museum where the alarmingly lifelike figures are, while in fact preserved human victims encased in boiling wax. So the film's defining horror is the revelation that the still living victims are immobilized and drowned in wax. Most chillingly, during the intense sequence in which Wade is paralyzed and slowly coated, his eyes helpless as his face sealed shut. The tension crescendos in the melting, collapsing museum as survivors claw their way out of walls made of wax and former friends. Now, why do I think it works? House of Wax is often cited as the quintessential dumb slasher of the 2000s. Yet beneath the surface lies a meticulously designed haunted house experience. The film's wax museum setting is as visually unique as it is terrifying, and the climactic house melting sequence is a triumph of practical effects and over-the-top spectacle. Now the cast, Paris Hilton included, lean into their roles with charismatic abandon and fearlessness considering Hilton's infamous death scene. It's campy, bloody, atmospheric horror that never apologizes for its roots. The soundtrack and visual aesthetic exude pure mid-2000s nostalgia, making this a time capsule with sharp fangs. Alright, blowing in at number 1 is gonna be The Happening.
Were we supposed to stop here?
What's going on? You can't just leave us here.
Sir, we lost contact.
With whom?
Everyone.
An inexplicable disaster haunts the Northeast. People, overcome by a mysterious neurotoxin, begin committing mass suicide. Science teacher Elliot Moore, his wife Alma, and a dwindling group of survivors attempt to escape, theorizing that nature itself, maybe the very plants, has turned against humanity. The opening wields a sobering, disquieting force. City dwellers in Central Park suddenly stop, stunned, before one by one calmly ending their lives. The surreal horror of rational people calmly facing oblivion pulses throughout, with the infamous construction site suicide wave chilling in its matter-of-fact brutality. Now, why does it work? Reviled for its stilted acting, odd dialogue, and bizarre tonal choices, The Happening has nonetheless achieved cult so bad it's good status. It's a sincere, if awkward eco-horror, offering up a campy cautionary tale in the guise of apocalyptic cinema. What appears to be a disaster is, in some ways, a brilliant send-up of 1950s B movies. It's paranoia for an age obsessed with environmental collapse, right down to the deadpan earnestness of its leads. On repeat viewings, the oddball performances can be read as deliberate, the surreal atmosphere underlined by a sound design that makes even a rustling bush seem menacing. So just embrace the awkwardness, and you'll find a movie that's at once hilarious, disturbing, and weirdly original. The perfect storm for midnight viewing with friends. Alright, so you've made it to the end of our marathon through misunderstood, maligned, and magnificently messy horror films. Each entry in this countdown isn't merely a bad horror movie, it's a conversation starter, a dare, and a reminder that cinema's oddest outcasts can find redemption in the flicker of the midnight light. Will you heed the call of the weird tonight? See you on the other side. I love you, Tony. You're the best man, you're the best big brother, and as always, for the audience, remember, stay spooky.